Oliver and Merlin Ouboter, welcome. We are talking about Swiss brands, and Micro in our series is by far the youngest Swiss brand. But you can honestly say it's already become a worldwide icon in a way. If you travel around the world, there's a good chance that you might see a Micro scooter somewhere. When you consider that, how young that company still is, where do you see the reason for that? It is a worldwide success.
I think, so our father invented the micro scooter in the 90s. And I think it really struck a nerve, especially with rising urbanization, more and more people living in city centers that are thinking about micromobility. We have a lot of different segments. I mean, we are in the kids segment, which is very big. We are in the adult segment. We have electric products and other categories, but all of it centers around like practical urban mobility.
The scooter per se wasn't new. I mean, that is something that was known. So in that regard, is it fair to say that your father came at the right time, at the right place, with the right product that really in a way spoke to people that maybe 20 years before it wouldn't have?
I think, yeah, you could say that, definitely. I think it was at the right timing. And I mean, as you said, scooters were existing before, like kind of like wooden, huge things. But the real invention was kind of like to make it foldable so that it can fit into a normal plastic bag, really a portable mobility product. And I think at the end, this was kind of like the novelty about the product. And of course, yeah, the time was right. And another point was also, I mean, when he showed the prototype to his friends, they were saying like, nobody would ride that, you know, nobody. But at the end, it turned out that there are a lot of people who are curious enough to try out something new. And now if you look around, I mean, e-scooters in sharings, etc., it's kind of like the new bicycle.
In that regard, is there a question of luck in there as well? Being at the right time with the right product that people need?
Absolutely. I mean, that always plays certainly a role. I think, let's say from our perspective, and something that our father is very good at also, is a certain amount of gut feeling, good intuition. Because usually when you hear about it in the academic journals or wherever in the business press, sometimes you're already a little bit too late. So you kind of need to be ahead of the curve and kind of do things that maybe people haven't really thought about before. And the only way to really know whether they work or whether they will have success is actually to try to do it. And this is one of our, let's say, the core principle of our company, to actually go into new markets, try out new things. You know, we did the first scooter, we did the first three-wheeled kick scooter for kids. We did the Microlino, our small electric bubble car. So we really try to be the first ones on the market and then be the ones that reap the benefits by being really the innovator. And
also I think it's sometimes not overthinking too much, because I think that's something that we see in big corporation a lot, is that they just overthink maybe a product or a situation, and sometimes it's just better to kind of like to take the jump and to try something new. And then, of course, you will have trouble on the way, but that's how it works at the end of the day.
And I think just like as a small company, this is really what makes you kind of differentiates you from big companies, because as a small company, you're not going to be better in analyzing some new trends than a big company who has dozens of consultants, internal.
So you just have to try out, right?
So yeah, but you're much faster in just trying out, because you don't have all these huge processes and so on. So yeah, you're faster on the market.
And you can change as well. I mean, that kind of trial and error principle, I think that's something that Micro has been doing for the last years as well. That if something doesn't work out, you can easily drop it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. So for example, we have some products that really that we bring on the market. There is a small product that is basically kind of a super downsized version of a buggy for a stroller for kids. And the interesting thing was we launched it in Europe and it wasn't really a success. And then like 2 years later, we kind of pushed it a little bit in China, and it's now by far our best-selling product in China. And we were the first ones, but we are just a small fraction of the market. There's about 50 different brands doing just that product. So that's just an example of sometimes, you try out a product, it doesn't work in a market, then you try it out in a different market, and certainly there's a real use case for it, and then it works.
But that brings me to the point that is probably the biggest challenge for you guys as well. That if you were the first with a lot of things, but let's take the scooter for example. It didn't take a year or maybe 2 years after the micro scooter got on the market, that you had all the competitors, all the copiers that came on the market, and it was a huge challenge. And your father talked about it as well, that we almost had to start at zero again. How did you live through that time? That you saw that you were still small back then, but of course you kind of have that DNA as well. You live with the company as well. It's a family company in a way. Was it make or break?
I think honestly, I mean, we were still quite small at that time, but I think we learned quite a lot from our father, because he went through all of that. And basically, I would say that the key takeaway is that just never compete about price, because at the end, I mean, there's always somebody who will sell the product cheaper than you will, and so you really have to find something else where you can be best at, especially a Swiss company, and so I mean, for us, it was always kind of like to be in a premium stage, good quality products, and also like kind of a good branding where you can differentiate yourselves from just copycats. And I would say the upside of copycats is that maybe you're on the right track, So if
almost
nobody's copying you,
yeah.
it's a compliment at the end of the day. I mean, don't bother looking at competition, at copycats, because at the end of the day, it's good if they copy you because you're doing something right.
Of course, one thing that leads to copycats and competitors is the Swissness, because it has a certain quality tag to it. How much do you play with that as well? That you market your products as being from Switzerland, having the Swiss quality, having the Swiss positive sides to it?
So it is very important. Quite funny, I think Swiss people don't actually get how important it is in other countries, the Swissness. So for example, let's say in Korea, South Korea is a very strong market of ours. And there, the Swissness is really, really, really important. So sometimes, let's say our distributors in the different countries, they're actually focusing more on the Swissness than we do here in Switzerland, just because it's just so much more important. So for us, what it means, it's also it's kind of also like a big burden to have this kind of Swissness, because you need to live up to the Swiss standards.
Is that hard?
I think it is hard, because every company that is from Switzerland has some kind of, they kind of need to hold up the Swiss values. And so what it means for us is, obviously we don't produce the kick scooters here in Switzerland, because that wouldn't be competitive. But we have a team in China of 30 people, all Europeans, Swiss people, German people, Chinese people, that really focus on quality and product development. So it's to really set our standards in quality, and that's why we're the market leader in that segment.
Do you use Switzerland also as a marketing tool, specifically that you say it is the quality from Switzerland that is maybe differentiating us from the competitors? I
mean, we cannot use made in Switzerland, because obviously the products are not made in Switzerland. But what we use is kind of like designed in Switzerland, and engineered in Switzerland, because at the end of the day, that's true, because all of our products are basically, the idea starts in Switzerland, is developed kind of like with designer, with the technical teams in Switzerland, and then at a certain point we go over to China, and then we're looking for a partner for the manufacturing, etc.
Speaking of marketing, how important is the storytelling? Because the story is quite unique. Your father who invented that product, and apparently your mother said, you have to do that, and you have to bring it to the market, and it's quite a unique thing that might be useful or helpful as well. That being a small family company, at its core, it's still the family. You're the next generation, both working for the company as well. Do you use that deliberately as well?
Absolutely. It is super important, because I think, that's really what differentiates you from just the copycats, that basically all they have in terms of story is, well, I saw a product that is nice, I copied it and try to sell and make as much money as possible. We really have a story to tell for different products, for how we came up with innovation. And what's also particularly important about the story is, the family aspect, because a lot of our customers are families, kids that ride our scooters, parents that ride their adult scooters together with their kids and so on. And so they really appreciate a family standing behind it with real family values, and that's very important for us. And we try to communicate this also very strongly to our customers.
Final question on the business model. Where do you see this going? You have already kind of gone into other areas, from the scooter to the e-scooter to a car, a small car. Is that the way to move forward, to kind of find other areas as well, not to be just depending on one product that is working very well? Yes, but it could be kind of a risk to just do that one product. So do you think, like, to differentiate your business model, is that the way to go?
Definitely, I think. I mean, we are always innovating new products in new fields. I mean, also in micro, we're more going into the travel segment. E-scooters, of course, is a huge topic. Yeah, with the Microlino, we kind of like ventured
That's
into
a small
something.
car?
Yeah, exactly. That we ventured into, let's say, the automotive industry. Although I have to say, it's not a car. It's really a mix between a motorbike and a car. But I think as a brand, we also have kind of like our limits, where we say, like, that's clear for us, we will never make a real car, like an SUV or anything like that, because we are a micro-mobility brand. And so that's really in our DNA. And so we will not venture off and do an airplane or something else. Our focus is on urban mobility, micro-mobility at the end. So maybe we're going to do something smaller than the Microlino, the small city car. That's open, but definitely not a real car.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like, from let's say from the future perspective, certainly the electric part is where we see the most growth in the next 2-3 years. Electric scooters, Microlino, and so on, is something that will increase our revenues and our company size by quite a lot, we think.
So the success story goes on.
We hope
Definitely,
so. Yes.
Oliver and Merlin Ouboter, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for being here.